Good afternoon, McKenzie County, and welcome to Living in McKenzie County, the podcast. We have a very special guest with us today. We have a special episode that will be hitting you premiere week. And so just to kind of kick things off, we are in the middle of May, and we are actually getting 4 days of rain. And so I questioned this morning, why did we not bring the My Town team out earlier, like a year ago? That would have been smart. But we have with us today Cory Hepola from My Town. And so Cory and his team are spending the week with us. Cory, can you just talk us through a little bit about what My Town is and your goals and your missions, and let's do it.
Yeah, well, first of all, so appreciate being here and the community and everybody that we've met who has been just welcoming us with open arms. And so we really appreciate that. And that's honestly, that's why one of the reasons why we're here is just the people here and the community that you all have built. Well, My Town is a documentary series, and our mission, and I can tell where it all stems from, all of that stuff, but quite simply, our mission is to break down the popular misconceptions with the rural lifestyle, showing the opportunity in our small towns. And the reason for that is that there are these negative stereotypes associated with small towns and rural living. And being from a small town myself, I just kind of got tired of hearing those. And it wasn't really, most of the time through mainstream media and mainstream stories and even into politics, we're not telling the authentic stories from our small towns. And so that was basically where My Town stemmed from.
Well, we want to thank you for coming out for season 2 to Watford City and McKenzie County. So we're in the middle of your trip right now.
Yeah.
You've been out to the Mattahay. You've been with Brady Lund on the Mattahay. This morning you were out to the Wisness Ranch, hanging with Bo and Heather and Chase and Morgan and their family and their crew. Tell us a little bit about what you've experienced so far.
I've seen some things. Unbelievable experience. Let me start with the Mattahay. So people associate North Dakota from the outside. People from the outside associate North Dakota and think, okay, it's all flat and there's nothing there. There's adventure here. Like, we went in the Mattahay and we're going up elevation. We're doing like the most popular thing out there right now in terms of mountain biking with the best views here right outside of Theodore Roosevelt National Park. So to be able to experience that with Brady, and he kind of showed me around. We got going really fast downhill. And you're staying on these tight trails. And so that was pretty exhilarating. And now this morning, I will say, never been to a branding event.
So this doesn't have to do with marketing. Is that what you're saying?
No, it does not. I've never, I don't know that I've ever been on a ranch.
Okay.
I've been on a horse, but usually that's like someone else guiding the horse and you pay $20 to go do it, that sort of thing. Yeah. This was out in the wild.
Yeah.
Like, Ruby just took off a couple times and I had to kind of rein her back in, and that took a little bit of a learning curve. But I say all this because it was so much fun. And also too, I think one of the things that struck me here was, so we went out there, and we were branding today. So to go out on a ranch, hop on a horse, to then drive in cattle into a pen, and then rope cattle, which I didn't do. They don't let you do that. But, to rope cattle, separate a little bit, and then to get the calves, and then ultimately to brand them. Just obviously that was all brand new to me. There were so many great things about it, but the thing that stood out to me the most was the community part about it. Like, here is the Wisness family, and you have neighbors and friends, and you have other ranch hands from other ranches. You have people, coming to help because, you know what? Tomorrow, the Wisness and everybody else is going to go to the next ranch down, and then they're going to the next ranch down. And there's, it's communal too, where we have breakfast together, we have lunch together, we break, we have lunch, and we go on to the next ranch, and then we celebrate together. We share a beer together. That is community. And I mean, from the outside, you would never think of it that way. And that's what's really stood out to me.
Excellent. So you have all your limbs. You got to the celebration point.
Yeah.
Did you learn what Rocky Mountain oysters were?
No.
That's good.
You'll have to
That's
come back
okay.
next
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
You'll have to come back next time.
Wait, can you tell me? I can't wait.
Yes. Brock, how much editing do you have? The capability.
The PG version. Let's go.
The PG version. So you castrated some bull calves.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are edible.
Oh.
Yeah.
So in the town next to us, Dent, Minnesota, they have the Testicle Festival.
Yes.
There
So
they go. Yeah, they don't even.
Well, this is farm
find
to
new
fork
words.
vertical integration in farming.
is there like nutrients and health? Do we?
Bragging rights. Bragging rights.
Okay.
and protein?
And protein, yeah. Well, protein's hot right now. Everybody wants some healthy proteins.
There you go. Sorry, that was a bit of a sidebar, but okay.
But it's called Rocky Mountain Oyster? Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know
Yes.
that. But I experienced that out there.
Perfect.
Yeah, and in the smells and yeah.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. So tomorrow we're
Yeah.
headed to McKenzie Health. And, I think when the work that Daniel and I, the area that we work in, like we always talk about foundational pillars. And for rural communities, healthcare is a foundational pillar. Talk a little bit about McKenzie Health and
Yeah.
I think you've gotten to know Pete a bit through communications. Just what does rural health mean to rural communities?
Well, Pete and the leadership there, revolutionary. Like what they've done to create this modern, state-of-the-art healthcare system here, which is so vital to not only the community but the region, a regional hub. I think a great story to kind of put it into perspective more recently would be, adding live birth to this hospital system. You think of all the families here. And of course, this area has grown so much in 15 years, but you want to be a place where, hey, you don't have to leave. We have everything here. Well, up until recently, if you wanted to have a baby, you had to go somewhere else. And it's not like you can go 5 minutes down the road. It's, Williston maybe? That's 45 minutes to an hour away. That's a long trek to ask people. So the ability to now have live birth here at home. So there's no stress because it's supposed to be the most beautiful time. You're welcoming, and Daniel knows he just had another child. You're welcoming another living human into your family. And that can be such a stressor to have these like, well, what if we're driving up there and we can't, so to be able to bring that back home and we're, hearing a story from Emily Brown who experienced that herself where, number 3 was kind of tight. And then all of a sudden to be able to have, their 4th child here at McKenzie Health, it's a game changer. So, and that's just one story, right? There's so many other great stories of how this, modern McKenzie Health rural healthcare system is positively impacting the region because you think about outsiders who, they're picking or choosing an area to go and live, right? They're not just picking for the job anymore. They're picking, the community. Like, do you have a great school system? Do you have public amenities? Do you have a healthcare system? And Watford checks all of those boxes. And so, what Pete and the group have done is just really, really amazing.
We're super excited that Aiden Pelton will be with you tomorrow as well, talking about the school system and the Rough Rider Center and Bakken Area Skills Center. He's been a CWE student.
Yeah.
But what do you see as the communities that you go to in terms of educational opportunities? Where does that fit in the rural lifestyle?
Is that Mayor Aiden Pelton?
Well, he will be
Future
governor.
mayor.
Future, and then governor right after that, I think.
Yeah,
yes.
I met his dad today too, so that was pretty cool. No, Aiden is an incredibly sharp young guy, and really excited to see the positive impact that he has. But as he moves forward into college and then beyond, But one thing that, there's so many things I want to share, but one thing that really stands out to me is this ambassador program that you have. With new families wanting to come in, like you know how that is. Like you started a new school or your family's new. You don't really know how to integrate or where to start or where to get started at. And to have this sort of high school student and students who are, positive and welcoming, and also like Aiden and the ambassador groups who are talented, to be able to, hey, no, come on, welcome not only the students, but their families. It's so, I think every school across the country should have something like this,
Well, and I think McKenzie County and Watford City specifically, I mean, we've had a lot of new people into the community. And so usually rural, it's like there is usually a little bit of resistance for the new people in town. But because of the growth that we've had, there's new people coming each week. And so in some ways that might make it a little bit easier, but then you have to have that infrastructure in place where people are saying, hey, welcome
For sure.
to the community.
Well, and the other part too, Danielle, I'd say is like the Bakken Area Skills Center. I mean, you guys you're training the next generation. And I look at it this way in that, not every high school student is ready to go off to college or maybe wants to go to college. Now that's great for those that want to. There's great public and private secondary choices here in the state of North Dakota. Awesome. Go find them. Like that's great. But if you don't want to do that and you're like, I want to get started with my career. Now we're training the next workforce right here. And now you've built up an infrastructure that says, you don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
Now you can go out and travel the world, but you can put your head on your pillow here where it's home.
I mean, and that's a shift from 20 years ago, 30 years ago in high school. I mean, especially in rural North Dakota, if you're going to be successful, you're going to go to a 4-year school and you're not going to come back to your home community. But things are changing, I think, and we have to figure out exactly what that means and the pros and cons of all that. But we're excited what the Bakken Area Skills Center has.
Well, and I think you're meeting the needs of families and kids who are now coming through your school district, which is larger than it's ever been. And I think to your point, so my parents growing up in very rural Minnesota, didn't really have the opportunity to go to college. And I think a lot of people in that generation were the same. Either didn't go or didn't have the opportunity to go. And so then when they were having me and raising me, it wasn't necessarily, now I was going to go to college either way, but it wasn't necessarily a discussion. It wasn't like, are you going to college? Or it was, which college are you going to? Mm-hmm. Now that happened to a lot of kids. And kids who maybe shouldn't have gone to a 4-year, maybe should have gone to a 2-year or a trade school or chosen to do whatever their passion is. And what happened then was a lot of kids got saddled with a lot of debt that they didn't really understand was going to be the price tag to it all. And so this is just meeting the needs of kids who say, hey, I'm pumped about welding, or I'm passionate about this, or you know what, I'm good at this. I like doing this. So I want to do this. I can make a good living right away. And then I can continue to go hiking or fishing or whatever that they love to do here in this area.
And I think that is probably the skills development itself is valuable to creating a workforce that fits the needs of a region or a community. What's so intriguing to me about the Bakken Area Skills Center is it gives kids the opportunity to explore those careers too before they're starting to make those commitments and those determinations early on. So.
Yeah, so then you can decide. I mean, we've all done it, right? We've tried something first and said, you know what, maybe that's not for me. So it's just as important to figure out what you're good at and passionate about, and also what you're not good at and not passionate about too.
Yeah, before spending maybe 3 years of college and $60,000.
A year now, probably.
I know. 3 little kids don't. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Bring that up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, so get to see the Bakken Area Skills Center.
Yeah.
I think when you were talking about just our school enrollment and the school growth, I had this revelation, I think just recently. So we always talked about the point in time when our school enrollment surpassed what our population was of the entire community back in 2000.
Oh, sure.
Well, now it's double what it was back then. So I think when we were kind of visiting about, I think you asked us, how do you see yourselves? And we defined ourselves as we fuel and feed, the world.
Yep.
And you got a chance to be out with Brady to kind of see some of the innovative things Lund Oil is doing. Has there been anything that has caused you to pause or think about just our whole landscape of energy production out here and really how much power we create out here?
Yeah, I think it should be a source of pride, in terms of, what you are doing to fuel America. I think one of the things that has stood out to me would be just how, Lund Oil, for instance, continues to evolve and innovate in terms of, data mining now. So I think that there's still stuff this is totally new for me. So it's a learning experience. And that's what is so fun for me is that I get to go to, Watford or all these communities. I get to learn. I get to learn about things that, and that's really what our series is based on too, is that, oftentimes I think people who have not experienced small towns or rural, they have these ideas of what it is like to live there, or maybe what the people are like there, and they've never really fully experienced it. And so that's what this is about. It's like remaining curious. I want to go find out what it's really about. And so that for me is where I like to, but I do look around town and I go, look at all the opportunities that energy, oil has provided for this community, for the people here. And it's drawn and created a local economy that is vibrant. And isn't that what it's about too? We're building community.
I like it. So you're a curious person. I mean, I think that takes guts sometimes to put yourself out there to go say, hey, I'm going to go to this new place, experience a new thing. Have you always been that way or has...
Yeah. I've looked stupid so many times because I'm kind of unafraid to ask questions. Yeah. And that's what I like about this series is that I think I ask the stupid questions often because I don't know.
And other people want to hear that question, but they don't want to be the one asking it.
Right.
So thank you.
So they may go, oh man, I've always wondered about that, but I never wanted to ask it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that's where I want the audience to kind of experience it through me and say wow, that's something I didn't know. And then I'm the one that can go in eyes wide open and be like, whoa, had no idea. But I just think it's important for all of us to remain curious, right? The second that we stop asking questions or say we've got it all figured out, we stop growing as people. And so that's always been kind of like a fundamental, I think, core value for me. Even as a little kid growing up, I just always wanted to learn more about other people. And I was fortunate to be able to do that. I grew up in a small town, knew I wanted to get into broadcast journalism and went to Concordia College in Moorhead, got my first TV job, and I had life all planned out. I thought I'm working in Fargo until I'm going to Minneapolis. That's it. That was my dream come true, to be a TV news anchor in Minneapolis. And then, before that, Fargo. And I always kind of say that the Lord kind of kicked me out. I had to go and experience. So I had a plan for my life, but then, our station was sold. I got laid off and I worked all through college and then graduated college without a job. And so I had to go and apply, and I applied to 150 different TV stations and ended up in Helena, Montana. And that for me was just so eye-opening, one, but to see how different people lived. And I remember getting out to Montana and again, never having been there, and just noticing, about 3 out of 4 vehicles were trucks. And, I bet, every other truck had a dog in it in front. That was just different. Even in rural Minnesota, we didn't have that. And so you just start to notice different things and you ask questions, and I really learned to value the way that they live, and they welcomed me into their community, and now I'm it's been 20 years since I've been there, and I'm really nostalgic about it too. But that's Yeah, just I think I encourage everybody to just be curious. It's okay to ask questions.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for doing what you're doing. I mean, I think it is satisfying that need of people to explore, but some people just don't have the ability to do it. But then maybe there's some people that will pick some locations that you're viewing as like, hey, I want to go there in person and see what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the hope. And I think one of the things that we went in with, with My Town was, we had a very strict mission is, we want to champion these small towns, which we feel like nobody's really doing. And so to really provide a voice and an advocate for small towns. And we kind of lump the audience, which is everybody, honestly, but we lump them kind of into 4 different baskets. One being rural by choice, people who grew up rural, never really left, and are proud of where they grew up. And they should be proud, but rural by choice. The second would be boomerangs. So boomerangs are the people who grew up in a small town. They left, maybe went to college. We see that often. And that's where this term, the brain drain comes from. They're like, well, look, all young people leave. Well, of course they do. They go to where the colleges are often. So, but what's misunderstood is that 95% of the counties, rural counties across the country are growing and have been growing. And now that's accelerated since COVID, but this is nothing new. Like it's been growing in that age range from like 27 to 45 because they go to college, they experience, and then they start going, you know what? I like it back home. I want to raise my kids there. My family's there. Or they want to live more of a rural life. And we see now quality of life is the number one priority for millennials and Gen Zers. So yeah, that's the boomerangers, right? The go to college, but then they come back. The other would be rural curious. So people who are, maybe they're from a small town, maybe not, but they're living in a city now. And society, mainstream media, news, whatever has told them all small towns are dying. Hallmark movies have told them you can't go back unless you lose your job, right? Like that's what happens. And so they feel like they can't. But yet deep down, they're kind of curious. They need a push. They need to know it's okay. They need to know there's a good job, that there's a good school district. They need to know because that's what they're after. They're tired of the runaround. They're tired of the traffic. But they just don't feel like, what would people say or this or that? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help people see, no, you can. You can, and other people are doing it. And so that's why in our episodes, we pick different people who represent different stories on how they ended up here in Watford. Someone grew up here. Someone relocated here. Someone was a boomerang. So the last bucket would be the urbanites, who are probably never going to move here. Well, they might, but probably never will. But that's okay. At least now we're educating them so that they can say, hey, I saw this thing on Watford City, North Dakota. I had no idea. I thought everybody was uneducated out there. I didn't know there was all this, all these, or the schools were run down or whatever. But now they're seeing, whoa, state of the art, this, community, that, beautiful backdrop. So even if they never come here, at least now they have a different perspective of what. So that's really the 4 buckets, which kind of encompasses everybody.
Rural by choice. I mean, I love that term. I mean, I think that's how I found you on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was scrolling YouTube one time and I saw rural by choice. That's an interesting. It catch my attention, and I want to hit play on that and see what you're talking about. And I was really, really impressed by what you did with that.
Yeah, it's such a great story. And to give credit, Eric Osberg is the rural rebound coordinator for Otter Tail County, Minnesota. So that's where I grew up in Perham, Minnesota, town of 3,000. And it's in Otter Tail County, which is more than 1,000 lakes. And that's what we're known for. And it's about, an hour east of Fargo. So western Minnesota. But Eric is the rural rebound coordinator. And he was the one that really coined that phrase, rural by choice. Yep. And all the work that he's doing is really based on the research from the University of Minnesota that says, no, rural counties are not dying. They never have been. So not sure where that all stemmed from and started, but it's a misconception.
Sure. Any last comments, questions?
Well, knowing that you're very observant, any observations that you've made that you'd like to share with us at this point in time?
Here's something I really admire about Watford. And also the state of North Dakota in general, just having spent a lot of time in rugby now too, as a season 1 episode. I admire the independent spirit here in North Dakota. There is not we're waiting for you to come here and help us. We're waiting for the federal government to send us money or to do this. You guys get stuff done. You band together, you develop a shared vision, and you get stuff done here in Watford specifically, but in the state of North Dakota too. And I love that. It is so much of just, and maybe it goes back to even like Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know, but like he himself too, right? Like yes, he was an early Republican. But even if you study Teddy, you knew that the Republicans, even in that time, were a little bit like, wait a second, this guy's got an independent streak. Sometimes he won't vote he'll like side with the Democrats on this. So even back then, they were a little bit like, what is this guy? And then ultimately he becomes the ultimate independent. But it was just so much of like, again, I look at Teddy as like a curious guy. He's like, you know what? I want to think for myself. And we're going to band together our community to get things done together. And that's what I value out here. I see it happening here in Watford and how you're able to get all this stuff done. That's a credit to you guys and your community leaders on one of the things I see in other communities in other states is there's not that shared vision where it's like, you have your economic development, maybe you have your city here, maybe you have tourism somewhere in between, and they're all like serving the same mission, but they're all kind of in silos. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, wait a second. We can't get as much done if we're doing that. Why don't we band together? And yes, maybe I don't get exactly what I want right away, but like I'm going to get 95% or 65%. And then the next time my idea might take off or my initiative might take off. But we'd get so much more done together. And that's a credit to all of you. I don't have to tell you, you've seen it here. The
art of compromise for the greater good.
Yeah. But there's a cooperation part of that too. Mm-hmm. And look, I just think it's in the DNA. I'm out at branding today and everybody's serving a role. Whether you're, I saw a kid out there that's 4 years old. Mm. And there's people in their 70s out there, but everyone served a role, everyone chipped in and everyone did their part. And it was like, okay, we got the job done today and we did it very well. Now we're going to do it tomorrow. And I think that's another thing. You work hard here. You work hard. Like people work hard. They enjoy life, sure. But and we do in Minnesota too. We're hardworking people. And my family's, from my mom grew up on a farm. And so it's just kind of what we do. But I see that here and I value that.
Well, I'm excited you're going to be going to the Heritage Park tomorrow. That new building was built a couple of years ago by some very dedicated volunteers and a lot of community effort. And I serve on the board out there, and so we're excited to have you there. Last fall was your first time in McKenzie County.
Yeah.
And you were riding a mechanical bull. Was that your first mechanical bull ride?
Yeah, absolutely was.
I hadn't met you yet, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a buck off. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that guy's going to hurt tomorrow. And I find out it was the speaker.
You know what they did is he rope-a-doped me because my kid went on first, and he had it on, must have been like easy mode. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll jump on there. And all of a sudden it went from 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. And I have it on my phone and I timed it. And it's like 2.9 seconds. So I'm not.
Didn't make the 8 seconds.
No, it threw me pretty good. So at my job in my office, they saw the video, screenshotted it, and then hung it on my door. First the fridge, the community, so everybody saw it. And,
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you came back after the buck off.
Yes. No, yes. Of course.
It's important to get back on the horse after you get bucked off.
And the bull.
And so the
horse, it's a good life lesson, really.
And man, there's a lot of things you've been riding.
A good life lesson. Get back on the horse.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming to Watford City. Thank you for featuring our community in your My Town series. And we wish you the best of luck. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys. And thanks to everybody in town who has welcomed not only me, but our team here with open arms. And I just hope everyone recognizes sometimes, you live in a place and you start to, you just get used to stuff. Mm-hmm. But we come in with an outside perspective, and I hope people enjoy the episode because this is a love letter to Watford. And I hope that they recognize why they choose to live here, because you could be anywhere, but you choose here. And there's so much here. And sometimes it takes that outside person to go, oh, yeah, that's right. I love it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
so much, Cory.
Tell them a bit, Cory, the communities and how to watch. Get them with the socials and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So, yes, please. Everybody watch on My Town series is where you can find it on YouTube. Same with Facebook. But please subscribe and watch on YouTube. Yeah, the more people that watch here, the better it will do online too. So, and plus, this is your town story. Let's be prideful about it.